Welcome to episode 18 of Jess the Love Coach podcast. This is my second attempt at live streaming a podcast episode. And I'm coming on here today to basically just talk about what I was journaling about this morning, as that's kind of what this podcast is about. And today's topic is all about self-judgment, self-acceptance, and self-compassion, and basically the dance between these three things, because I've been observing plenty of self-judgment lately and self-criticism, and I am observing these thoughts and I am responding to them with love and compassion, as I have learned to do. But something that really showed up for me today was just kind of how these certain judgments and certain critiques that I have on myself are still lingering, and just wanting to acknowledge, the fact that this journey of self-love and self-acceptance is never ending. And there is no final destination to reach. There is no final moment where you no longer have self-judgment or self-doubt or self-criticism. And the only thing that we can do is just get better at observing and responding, and get better at finding the balance between having judgments, because judgments are not necessarily bad or wrong. Of course, they can be overused and they can be quite harsh. And the problem really lies when we identify with the judgments, but we do still need judgment. And so today I was really observing my judgment around how I face uncertainty specifically, because I'm in a very uncertain moment of my life at this time. And it's just interesting how I'm finding myself coaching myself, as I naturally do. But one thing that I recognized was that I was very much in my head and kind of dismissing how I was feeling by overcoaching myself, if that makes sense. And today I really came to a place of realizing that I need to let go some more. It's a continuous practice of letting go. And I'm so happy and proud of myself and the progress that I've made in the last 7 years of being on this journey. And, my moments of absolute loving presence grows. Those moments that I have of absolute loving presence, the time when I'm in that state is longer and longer each time. And, there are literally periods where I go months where I'm just riding this wave of bliss and just feeling nothing but love for myself and for everything. And then, I do still have moments. Of course, I'm a human being. I still have moments of self-doubt and self-judgment. And today, it actually sparked me to listen to another podcast about how to have self-discipline without making yourself miserable. Because self-discipline is something that I judge myself on a lot. There's plenty of things that I would like to have as habits that I have tried many times to cultivate a consistent and sustainable habit. But, for one reason or another, I don't commit to those habits. And I sometimes very much consciously allow myself to continue habits that I don't like, and to not really, I suppose, commit to the discipline that I would like to have. And so, the reason why I wanted to come on here today is just to kind of talk about that, really. Just talk about the fact that, no matter how long you've been working on self-love and self-discovery and, just experiencing less suffering, I suppose, it's never ending. The work is never ending. And, I think for myself, I'm fine with that. I actually really enjoy the work. I really enjoy navigating and investigating and just like being in the presence of the work. I like the fact that this morning I was able to acknowledge the fact that I've been holding myself back from things that I would like to do because of self-judgment, because maybe on a subconscious level, I still don't feel good enough in some areas. And on a subconscious level, I still don't feel capable in some areas, especially when it comes to making content, because this is really what I'm navigating the most at the moment, coming back into coaching and just knowing that I need to make content, and on one hand feeling super comfortable with it, but on the other hand, at the exact same time, still having those voices in my mind that say, oh, it needs to be this way, it needs to be that way, like stop talking about yourself, just start giving value and these types of things. And I know that this stuff isn't true. I do know in my mind that I can just show up as my most authentic self and say whatever is on my heart. And that's going to resonate with the right people, with my tribe. And, I found myself today, this morning, I have to make content today. I have to pump out a bunch of content because I know myself. And some days I don't feel inspired to create. And some days making content feels like a task. And then there are other moments when everything is just flowing out of me and effortlessly. And I'm just like, oh, I have so much to share. And today, this morning, I was just like, okay, I have to do this. And this is where the topic of self-discipline comes in, because I'm just like, oh, I wish that I was disciplined when it comes to making content. I wish that I could just do it, even if I don't want to do it, because I need to do it. And I was just observing this conversation that was going on in my mind this morning, and just noticing how I was speaking to myself, just noticing what kind of tone was coming through, what kind of expectations was I putting on myself, and just noticing how, I went through so much conditioning as a full-time content creator, and I was following loads of different business coaches, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars on different business coaches to tell me what I needed to do. And it was really difficult because everything I was being told that I needed to do just didn't feel super authentic and aligned for me. Because at the end of the day, yes, this is my business, this is my job, and this is how I, want to make money to live and support myself. But for me, it's not about making money. And I think there's loads of coaches out there who can, who understand what this dilemma, of the fact that you just want to help people and you want to be of service, but you also are a human being who lives in this world where money is a thing. And so you need to make money. And so then there's always the navigation of like, okay, how do I balance that? How do I balance my pricing and turn this into a business while also just, the desire to just be generous, for example, because everything that I want to share with people, I just want to share with people. And I would love to be in a position where I can just give it all away. But that's not my reality. And so, I was noticing just everything that was going through my mind this morning about, just this need to make content, and then feeling like I'm not disciplined enough, and then kind of going into this, like, why am I not disciplined, and just going through basically, how I was talking to myself. And I'm going to be radically honest, in this exact moment, I feel like I am just rambling on and my thoughts are not organized, and I really want to hit stop recording and I really want to delete this, but I can't because of the fact that this is me and I just want to show up as real as possible. And so it's gonna keep going because I want to, really. And I had this desire to come on here and share. So here I am. And I suppose at the end of the day, I can just, again, have compassion, have acceptance, and just be proud of the fact that, well, I got on here, even though I was thinking about it beforehand and just thinking like, oh, maybe you should write down a few notes so that you can, stay organized. And then I thought, well, I want this podcast to be completely unscripted. Because at the end of the day, this is just like a flow of consciousness. It's like, it's just the Love Coach podcast, but really it's just like my verbal journal. Basically, it's just a view into my world, into my heart, into my mind. And today my mind has been a bit chaotic, which is fine. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna just see what's gonna come out now, because at the end of the day, I feel like this topic of self-acceptance and self-judgment and self-discipline, or all of these things, they're just really important topics that I'm in the middle of navigating right now in my own life. And I know for a fact that there are so many people out there who are also navigating this. And I just feel like it's an important topic to discuss and to just talk about. And I mean, I suppose in some way this is perfect, because the dance, the balance between self-judgment, self-doubt, self-criticism, and also self-acceptance and self-compassion, it's not always in flow. Sometimes the music is fast and fast-paced, and sometimes the music is really chaotic and there's no rhythm and there's no cohesion between all of these things. And sometimes there is. And right now, I'm mostly just observing this dance. That feels quite chaotic. But at the same time, it's like there's still a lot of beauty in the chaos. And so I feel like, yeah, it's just, I suppose I'm just expressing, because at the end of the day, this is one of my fears that I'm actively working on, is expressing myself honestly and truthfully and transparently, and not like letting go of the consequences, letting go of the outcome, letting go of what's on the other side of this expression, and letting go of the expectations that every time that I say something, it needs to be perfect, or it needs to add value, or whatever the stories are that are playing out in my mind. And so at the end of the day, I'm just here again because I want to practice. I want to make the choice as often as possible to practice putting myself out there and just being in this feeling of discomfort where I'm at right now, of just like, oh God, I'm like bombing this. But at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong way to do that. And this is how I have set this podcast up. It's why I wanted to do a podcast, because of the fact that I just want to express myself. And by expressing myself, I believe that's how I connect to people. And that's how people connect to me, is just by seeing me. And so, yeah, I don't think I've necessarily really added too much value around the topic of this stuff. But yeah, I guess I'm just here to be me, to share, and to practice sitting with this discomfort, as I said. Because at the end of the day, I just need to get more comfortable and realize that even if I just show up, it doesn't matter what comes out of my mouth. Like if I'm just showing up, that is good enough. And so this is what I'm practicing at the moment. And this is what I'm proving to myself, is that even if it's scary, it doesn't matter. What's important is to just show up and be myself. And so that's what I'm doing here. I suppose one thing I can say is that if there are any topics that you want to hear about, please let me know, because, who knows? I mean, maybe you want to hear me just stream of consciousness, verbally letting out whatever is in my mind. Maybe that is what you want to hear. But, if there's some certain things that you want my perspective on, or something that you want to listen to, please send me a DM on Instagram, or you can obviously comment on this stream on YouTube if you want to. But yeah, I'm just going to end it here, actually, because that is what I can do. I've showed up, I've talked, I've made a mess of myself, which is fine. And I feel like, yeah, I'll just end it here. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you and talk